Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday weather outlook for the southern region, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, it has been an extremely rough week in terms of severe weather for much of us across the southern region, and last night was no different. We saw here an additional 202 reports of severe weather. Most of them were from strong straight-line wind damage, but we did have 10 reports of tornadoes, and many of them right there in central Mississippi. And you've probably seen on the news some of the destruction from these storms, and it's been quite bad. Well, as we continue to progress forward throughout the day on Friday, getting into our weekend, the problem is the storms that came through this area, in some locations dropping between 1 and some places in Arkansas over 4 to 5 inches of rain. And by the way, this is a place that's been extremely wet, okay? These storms are going to be moving over toward the east. In the east, well, you think about Georgia, North, South Carolina, Virginia. They've actually had a pretty decent week so far this week out ahead of this system that's coming through. Well, what does it look like? It looked like this when we just stretch it back over the last about 24 hours or so. You can see this large damaging squall line that through early in the morning on Friday was pressing through parts of Georgia there, and it's on its way toward the East Coast. We're already starting to see some convection break out ahead of this early in the morning, and the Storm Prediction Center, because of the changes in the timing of this system, we're going to allow for a lot more daytime heating. We have an abundant amount of wind shear. The atmosphere is destabilized, and because of the history of this storm, we know that it has the ability to produce a lot of severe weather. So they've issued a moderate risk, and this is very serious, a moderate risk for severe storms from Virginia through parts of northern South Carolina. Throughout the week, we've been watching this, and we know that the potential was here, but just last night, early this morning, on Friday morning, they upgraded this to a moderate risk. Now, technically, the greatest threat out of these storms is going to be straight line wind damage, and that's what you see in this embedded figure here. They've got a region in there that's really stretching through that moderate area that you see on the map in the background, where the major risk today is going to be damaging winds. So this is the problem. There could be embedded tornadoes with this, and we cannot rule out hail. But in this region, this is probably, in the United States, one of the most active regions for straight line wind damage that there is. So be on the lookout throughout the day today. It is coming. Okay, let's take a look at the timing of this. Here's the system getting here early in the morning. So let me just step you back here. So we know that it was progressing through early morning, right through parts of Georgia. So this is valid 10 a.m. We can see a lot of scattered showers and thunderstorms out ahead of this on the warm moisture coming off of the Atlantic here. Now, as it presses through, we're going to see it move through Georgia, through Florida, throughout midday on Friday. It'll be getting into South Carolina throughout the day on Friday early afternoon and pressing through the Carolinas and Virginia in the overnight hours. You could get multiple rounds of storms with this today, so be on the lookout, especially in the Carolinas, for multiple rounds of storms. And behind it, the air is really cooling down. So we're going to go into a cooler weekend as this finally presses all the way to our coasts by late tonight. This is going to be 10, 11, maybe even midnight tonight by the time it gets offshore. Behind it, though, the deeper upper level trough is still spinning, so some widely scattered showers that will be pressing through parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, getting over into the Appalachian Mountains here, and that's going to at least clear things out after this moves through for a few days for much of the southern region. But our Easter weekend will be cool here because of the trough that's still sitting in that area. So let's talk about that trough and then see what the next few weather systems are going to look like. So I've taken here to the upper levels of the atmosphere. We're going to watch the trough ridge pattern through this weekend. So there it is. That's the deep trough in the flow of the atmosphere that's pushing through the East Coast by the time we get into Sunday midday. And that's what's going to keep our temperatures cool on the backside. Meanwhile, see the ridge that's developing here? We're going to put the heat right back into Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. We're going to get a quick rebound in our temperatures after a cooler Friday here. And that warm-up is going to be nice, but it's also bringing in moisture, and it's going to serve as the ingredients we need for when this trough you see sweeping down here through parts of Arizona, getting into Mexico here midweek next week. So this is Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. It emerges down here in parts of Texas, and this is going to kick off our midweek next week storm threat. And that little shortwave trough sneaks right through the southern region toward the tail end of next week into early next weekend, keeping the temperatures a bit more moderated, but certainly bringing in, again, another round of severe weather. Okay, so what does it all look like? This is just your next 10 days of total accumulated precipitation. And what I'm using here is a blended model technique. So we're putting together all the best models we have, and we can kind of see how they all pan out. So the first system exits there. Watch the second one emerge midweek next week, hitting Texas and moving to the east. And so we're expecting Texas, Oklahoma, this region to really take the brunt of this next system by Tuesday night into Wednesday of next week. We'll certainly have multiple updates about this before it gets there, but that's what we're watching. Okay, to see the timing of it, first of all, even if you don't get hit by the strong storms today, which many of us here along the East Coast are going to get, it will be extremely windy otherwise. But that system moves out by the time we get into Sunday midday, really Saturday night, but Sunday midday, and higher pressure starts to build in. So you can see this high pressure area. Yes, it's got some cooler temperatures to it to start off our week, but the high pressure here, the flow brings Gulf moisture right back up into this next system that's coming out of the southern, southwestern United States, really emerging here in Texas. So here it is. This is now late Monday night, getting into early Tuesday morning. The system emerges. We're going to have to be watching on Tuesday night into Wednesday as this system progresses out of Texas, Oklahoma, over toward the lower Mississippi River Valley for our next rounds of heavy rain and potentially some severe weather. And this system just slowly moves. I got you all that to next weekend here. It slowly moves across the southeast, which means we're just going to continue to keep our wetter conditions here as we progress, maybe through the next 10 days. You will get some reprieve. You saw, if I take this back, if you're over here in the southeast, you're not going to get this rain again until, next Thursday. But really what I'm saying here is that the pattern's staying active, and it just keeps sweeping the precipitation through this area. So after this storm system exits, we got 5-6 days of drying if you're in parts of Georgia, North, South Carolina, Virginia, Florida. But we're watching that next system early next week come out of Texas. Okay, that's our main story here. When we put it all together over the next 15 days, the European model is looking at this in terms of precipitation anomalies. It certainly sees the system that's leaving today. It sees the system that's coming in Tuesday, Wednesday of next week and skirting here along the southeast. And so we just look over the next 15 days and say, what does it look like? Temperatures, they're not going to be too far off of normal. You're certainly going to be cool, this weekend along the East Coast and warm in Texas. But as this next system comes through this area, we'll get a bit of a cool down, although it's not going to be unseasonable. I do not see any frost threat. So no frost threat for the southern region through the next 15 days, which is quite important. Just to show you what those temperatures look like. Now, this is going to play fast, but we'll pause it here. I got the animation set up pretty quickly. So what do we see? Friday temperatures, look at them cool down as we get into Saturday. So we're going to be seeing here, in Raleigh, North Carolina, 57 maybe as a higher. Maybe we'll get into the lower 60s, but this is cool high temperatures for this time of year. But like I said, really resurgent warmth back into Texas by the time we get into Saturday. We're talking middle to upper 80s. As I progress into Sunday, everything rebounds. We see this nice warming up back to more seasonable temperatures into early next week, but you'll start to see the cool down again Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday as that next trough sneaks through. So let me just show you Wednesday's highs next week. We're kind of cooling this part of Texas back down, while under a dome of high pressure, nice weather, temperatures kind of go back up here over the southeast. So that's going to be kind of our seesaw effect here with these next two systems that come through. And it's just keeping things active enough that it's going to be disruptive to us getting a lot of planting done for all of our crops we grow across the southern region here. But with that, I just wanted to go ahead and give you that near-term update today on Friday. I hope you all have a great weekend, but I'll go ahead and wrap up the forecast right here. We at Nutrien Ag Solutions hope you look forward to our next Southern Region forecast. It'll come out on Tuesday morning, but remember, we have forecast information that comes out every single day if you just go to my.nutrienagsolutions.com. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.